Hello. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again. Those of you who you see my picture popping up all of the time, me constantly talking about certain subjects, and maybe you are a little bored and you want to cut this off and don't watch it. Well, I don't have to tell you to do that. You do it anyway. But I want to say something to American people. And what I say to the American people, I say to the people of the world. You have heard it said that there's a war going on. You say it's a spiritual war. Basically a war between good and evil. A war between God and the anti-God. A war between right and wrong. A war for the soul as opposed to the flesh. But I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, that the God of the soul is also the God of the flesh. And they are prerequisites for the existence, continued existence, whether good or bad, for the soul. And likewise, there is same essential requirements for the flesh. The God of creation has made it possible that either of these can be filled. The one you are most familiar with is the flesh. The one that you're not familiar with is the soul. You are required to deal with the one that you're familiar with, for you can't deal with what you don't know. But in order for you to get what you don't know, you got to be familiar with what you should know. And so what I'm basically saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that all across America and all across the world, you have the haves and you have the have-nots. You have the haves in America and the have-nots. You got the haves around the world and the have-nots. And these exist for a simple reason of Americans and people of the world not wanting to follow the path that leads to what they pray for. I don't want to bore you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to bore you. But I want you to know that the have-nots exist because they have been robbed. Literally robbed. When you see people trying to migrate from one country to another, it's because either they have robbed somebody and they're running to get away, or they have been robbed and are constantly being robbed, and they're trying to find some type of relief from the robbery that they endure. Sometimes this robbery brought on by those who you expect to be protecting you. And sometimes it's a robbery that's brought on by outside powers that rob those who are supposed to be protecting you and enabling them to rob you even further. My message to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that everybody who is without is being robbed. Now, if you want to know who you've been robbed by, look to them that got, and that will tell you who robbed you. And if you want to know who the bosses are, if you want to know who in charge, see who are those who got the most. The ones that got the most. And I guess I should say, who robbed you legally. Because you're getting robbed everywhere, legally and illegally. But the ones who robbed you the most legally, and the one that's in charge is the one who got the most legally. For they will tell you that they are connected with God. They are direct results from Caesar and Pharaoh and this monarch and this king, and everybody's connected. And they lie to you and claim all the resources of the earth as being theirs because they have this connection with the divine. And they see you as being servants for their purposes and slaves as well. This has been since the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. And since that time, the message has been brought forth to you to recognize what is being done. And to let you know that in order for things to change, you are going to have to change it. There will be no miracles that you can touch and feel coming anywhere unless it's coming through you, which means you have received the divine power of understanding, of enlightenment to give you the courage to go forward and do what must be done. Oh boy, you know, it just seems sad sometimes when you think about people who work hard all the time. Don't care how cold it gets, how much snow comes around, how much ice get on the highways. They're out there driving down the highways when they can't even see the highways. They're getting in accidents by the hundreds, just packing up on each other, trying to take care of the business so that they can make it another day, another week, another month, another year. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the world we live in, but it does not have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. But in order for it to change, you got to change. Think about young people. Young people, depending upon how young they are, don't really know that much. They haven't been around long enough. They might have recorded some information, but they don't know that much. And they think they do, because this is a new thing for them. And they know as much as they know, and how much they know now is a lot more than they used to know yesterday. And so they think they got it going on. And where they fall short, they expect the older ones to have taken care of that. So what am I saying? I'm saying struggling to pay bills is a result of living in bondage. Struggling to survive is a result of living in bondage. Struggling to have access to education as you need it or see fit is a result of living in bondage. Struggling for access to health care when you need it is the result of living in bondage. If you were not living in bondage, these would be accessible to you as those who have done all the robbing. Nothing is kept from them. Nothing can be denied them. This is why I'm telling you about another power, another way. Good God Almighty, I know it's too hard for you to comprehend. I know it is very difficult. Your whole life has been lived learning the tricks and the trades of this evil society in which we live, all over the globe. That's all we know. And if someone knows anything more, it is because they have received a blessing. They have received a miracle that makes it undeniable. And if they haven't received that, they don't know what they're talking about. They got a belief. And a belief is like a straw blowing in the wind. You got to know. And only the pure in heart will know. And they have a responsibility to live amongst you exactly what they know. And they must live it wherever it leads them. There's no, well, I'll shake it today and maybe tomorrow. I know what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. I used to stand up all the time. I used to go to jail all the time. I have not been to jail since 2000. What? This is 18 and 19 years. I used to go to jail, it seems like every other month. But the last time I was in jail, it seemed as if it was just a waste of time. And so I've been spending my time talking and listening and suffering. Because I want to know, I want to say to you something that'll work. And I know in order for it to work for you, it first must work for me. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm talking about. We talk about these material things, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to know that the resources of the earth were not given to the ones who said yes to evil, the one who said yes to racism and bigotry and hatred. No, it wasn't given to them. They lied and they worked against you and they stole it. And everybody, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me real well. There is no one that is innocent. Everybody is guilty for the conditions of the world. It might be ignorance, but it exists because of that ignorance. It might be fear, but it exists because of that fear. And it's not going to go anywhere unless you listen. Now, I'm speaking to you because I'm not supposed to be here. I am not supposed to be here. In fact, had it not been for a miracle, I would not have been here. But let's just say I hadn't found myself in the ways that were presented before me that allowed the miracles to occur. Let's just say that had never happened. I would be just like you. I'd be trying to reach out and grab everything I possibly can, and I don't care whose hand I was scratching as long as I got what I needed for myself and mine. I'd be as big a dog as any dog. That's exactly what I would be. Why? Because that's the way you make it in this world. You got to be a dog or you got to be slick. That don't mean that you don't get some breaks here. You get breaks here, but your breaks here are breaks that allow the continuation of the existence of this which love is trying to expose. I'm just telling you that I understand. Oh, but it hurts, man. It hurts. Look at what's happening in D.C., the games that are being played. I've said it before, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are the have-nots, and I'll say it to you again. The systems of the world are designed to do what it's doing. The American system of democratic capitalism is designed to do exactly what it is doing. To promote the haves, or 1%ers, what you want to call them, and create a larger pool of the have-nots. That is absolutely true. And I don't care how much you try to wiggle in and try to make it over this hump. If you can just make it over this hump, then maybe your ship will come in this day and you can say, God blessed you. That alone should tell you that's not of God. God doesn't work that way. I'm here to tell you right now that every individual has got to change. You, have got to change. Look, I'm trying to say something decent, but it doesn't seem to be coming out right. Think for a moment with me. Think about the people who are suffering. Think. Think about the people who are being denied. Think. Now I know you are included in that group. But there are people that's crying. They need to know some love. They need to know some God. I'm asking you, ladies and gentlemen, those of you especially that are suffering, receive God if you can. We need God. We need a lot of God. We need love to fight this monster. Yes, I can fight it individually. You can fight it individually, but we will be killed. But we're not doing this just to be killed, even though that's the greatest love. We're not doing it just for that. We know that might be the outcome. But we want to help somebody. Look at the kids who want to be in college and they can't get there. Look at the kids who are falling out of life and nobody's there to help them. The politicians are there in place because they have been accepted as someone that can be depended upon to protect the system. Every last one of them. Many of them talk about what they're going to do based upon what the law will allow them to engage themselves in. Not knowing that even when they do that, that you are still going to be left out. Minimum wage. Can you ever live in a nice home? Minimum wage. Can you drive a decent car or keep it up to standards? Minimum wage. Can you raise your kids right? And all of these things happen because those at the top don't care. And everybody else either are afraid and they don't know what to do. But it's a simple matter, ladies and gentlemen. All you got to do is think for a moment and look at everybody else as if you're looking at you. And make up your mind that you want to do for others as you would have them do for you. If you wanted to have your needs met, as I just described them to you, you want them to come from the people who are out there, who can take control and be responsible and make sure that those things that you need, you get. And if you see that, then you got to be willing to be available to them as you would have them to be available to you. And you would come together with one thing in mind, and that's freedom for all of you. Not trying to punish those who have taken advantage of us. No. Just trying to break the chains that ties it forever and ever. That's all. Is that asking too much? I'm telling you that in order to make this stuff right, you who don't have any connection with government are going to have to do it. You're going to have to think about your children. You're going to have to think about your parents. You're going to have to think about your lives and your world. And you're going to have to make the decision that you're going to make sure that it's corrected. And you're going to have to be committed to make sure that you do your part. That's all it takes, is your part. And when you're doing the right thing, all of those parts come together. And it takes care of the will of God. I know you probably are tired of hearing me say this, but I know what it means to care. I know what it means to sacrifice. Sacrifice, though, is not really just to get you to move. It would be a great thing. It would be a great sign of hope. But I'm here because of faith. That God will not turn away from me. I know you will. But I'm here because God is reaching out to you. And I'm going to leave it there. Eddie Marcus once again saying bye-bye.